श्री दक्षिणामूर्ति स्तोत्रम। विश्वं दर्पण दृश्यमान नगरी तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतम् पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्वो भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोध समये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये। बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महा योगीव यस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। यस्यैव स्फुरं सदात्मकमसत्कल्पार्थकं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् यत्साक्षात्करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। नानाच्छिद्रघटोदरस्थितमहा दीपप्रभाभास्वरम् ज्ञानै यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकर्णद्वारा बहिःस्पन्दते जानामीति तमेव भान्तमनुभात्येतत् समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। देहं प्राणमपीन्द्रियाण्यपि चलाम् बुद्धिं च शून्यं विदुः स्त्रीबालान्धजडोपमास्त्वहमिति भ्रान्तादृशं वादिनः मायाशक्तिविलासकल्पितमहा व्यामोहसंहारिणे तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। राहुग्रस्तदिवाकरेन्दुसदृशो मायासमाच्छादनात् सन्मात्रः करणोपसंहरणतो यो भूत्सुषुप्तः पुमान् प्रागस्वाप्स्वमिति प्रबोधसमये यः प्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। बाल्यादिष्वविजाग्रदादिषु तथा सर्वास्वस्थास्वपि व्यावृत्तास्वनुवर्तमानमहमित्यन्तःस्फुरन्तं सदा स्वात्मानं प्रकटीकरोति भजतां यो मुद्रया भद्रया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। विश्वं पश्यति कार्यकारणतया स्वस्वामि सम्बन्धतः शिष्याचार्यतया तथैव पितृपुत्राध्यात्मना भेदतः स्वप्ने जागृति वाय एष पुरुषो माया परिभ्रामितः तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये भूरह्मांशनलो निलोऽम्बरमः नाथो हिमांशुः पुमान् इत्याभाति चराचरात्मकमिदम् यस्यैव मूर्त्यष्टकम्।
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। We'll recite the Shanti mantra. I will chant, you please repeat after me. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshushrodram Atho Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarod Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam me astu Tadatmani nirate Ya Upanishatsu dharmaha Te mai santo Te mai santo Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. As I said in the morning, we are going to study the 6th chapter of the ChhandogyaUpanishad. Naturally, the 5 chapters have gone by and we discussed them last year. What they contain primarily is called upasana or meditation. The Vedas can be looked upon as made up of 4 sections: Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. First section called Samhita which consists of the mantras and various hymns to for various devatas or deities. Hymns are there, prayers are there, mantras are there. This section of Veda is the very important section called the Samhita section. Next is called Brahmana section, which is elaboration of the mantras in the first section. Also, the Brahmana section shows what is the application of those mantras, in what kind of rituals you use those mantras, is called Brahmana. This is a very important section because it teaches us dharma or the right way of living, teaches in the form of the do's and don'ts, vidhi and nisheda. Vidhi, what should be done? Nisheda, what should not be done. Both of these are very clearly taught in the Brahmana section. It also teaches the duties. What are they called? Obligatory duties. What are the duties? What should we do every day and on specific occasions? So daily obligatory duties as well as the occasional obligatory duties. I use the word obligatory duty, which we are obliged to perform. So Vedas draw our attention to the total scheme of things of which we are a part. And the Vedas also teach how everything in the universe is interconnected, interdependent, how everything depends upon everything else. At the same time, how everything helps everything else. So, this is how the whole universe is created, where everything is useful to everything else, everything helped by everything else, everything helps everything else. This is the relationship. Meaning that we are constantly being helped by the rest of the universe. Now, as far as universe other than human beings is concerned, it is programmed, meaning that everything is helped and it is programmed to help others, which means that in nature, the elements of nature do not have to make any special attempt. They are programmed, designed to function in such a manner that everything helps or serves the rest of the world and is being served by the world. When it comes to human being, however, human being has a free will, meaning freedom to do something or not to do a given thing. So whenever any task comes before me, I have the freedom to perform the task or freedom not to perform. The rest of the nature does not have the freedom. Everything automatically does what is right for them in the universal scheme of things. And that's how a harmony is maintained in the universe. There is the ecological balance, all kinds of balances or orders are there in the universe because that is how the universe is designed. Except human being who is given some freedom of choice. This freedom of choice is given to us for our evolution to evolve, spiritual evolution, such that we can attain the highest goal in our life, namely moksha or total liberation, or putting in another way, that we can explore the total potential within ourselves. Because as we will see here, Upanishad says that you are limitless. You are a complete being. Limitlessness, wholeness, completeness is your nature. Right now, that wholeness or completeness is not evident in me. I don't act like a whole or a complete being. But there is a potential to invoke that and grow to a point that I can become a complete person. In fact, everything in the universe is complete, we'll see. But only human being has the freedom and the potential to make the right choices and do the right things so that he can evolve into the completeness or wholeness which is his nature. And for that purpose, this free will or the freedom of choice is given to us. However, freedom being what it is, if we do not exercise our sense of discrimination, it is possible that we may make the wrong choice also. That is called freedom. The exercise of which depends upon my judgment, my wisdom, my sense of discrimination. And particularly, if my mind is under control of greed or anger or jealousy or cravings, then more likely than not, I am going to abuse my free will. So whenever either lust or anger or greed or jealousy, this kind of negative impulses, when I'm controlled by them, then the choice that I make is going to be wrong. Wrong in the sense that action that I perform by the wrong choice is likely to hurt others and hurt me also. So human being can hurt the order. Only human being can be a violent creature. Nobody else is violent. They all act according to their nature. But the unnecessary violence is possible only for a human being. This is there. Therefore, since freedom of choice is given, it is also necessary to give us the guidance or direction as to how to use that choice in every situation. That's what the Vedas do in terms of do's and don'ts. They tell us what to do in a given situation and what to avoid in a given situation. Both these are given to us. Why should I do a given thing? Because it is beneficial to me. Why should I not do a given thing? Because doing that is harmful to me. So when we are told do this, by that we are told, hey, this is beneficial to you. Don't do this. We are told that, hey, this is going to hurt you. In a Veda, the scriptures guide us like our GPS, which guides us to the destination. So also the Vedas and scriptures are like that positioning system where we are told how to make choices. Except that making those choices will require very often to do something which may not be very pleasant to me. Sometimes the GPS can tell us a route which may not be very smooth, which may not be very scenic, but it is the right way. The right way is not always a smooth way. The right way may not always be a scenic way or a pleasant way. So sometimes what is right may or may not be what I like. What I like is what is pleasant. What gives me immediate gratification. Basically, what we like is short term gratification, is what my mind likes. And it is likely that in the process of the short term gratification or short term benefit, I may incur a long term loss. So, short term gain and long term pain, or short term pain and long term gain. These two choices are there. Usually, human being goes for immediate gratification, short term gain, not realizing that it may bring about a long term pain. Therefore, the Vedas say, do this, even though it may involve pain, it is for long term gain. Don't do this, even though it may give you some immediate pleasure, but then it will bring about a long term pain. Thus, in every situation, there is a choice to do what my mind likes to do, because the mind usually goes for immediate gratification and not what is right. So, what I like and what is right, usually these two choices are there. And what I like is often not what is right. What is right is not often what I like. So then we would exercise self control. Doing what is right always, more often than not, requires me to exercise self restraint. Because while driving on the highway, it's very tempting. Even though the speed limit may be 55, 60, 65 miles an hour, the temptation to go 75, 80 because you have a BMW which can go at 100 miles an hour. In the US, the roads are very wide and very smooth and very inviting. And then the speed thrills. It's very thrilling. And so I may go for that option. The speed thrills but kills. So, but this is how it is, that it is thrilling sometimes, but may not always be good for me. So there are temptations in life, and the mind is very likely to fall for these temptations. Therefore, in order to do what is right, we exercise self restraint and restrain the mind from making a choice which is based on temptation, and make a choice which is right. Anyway, this is the Karma Kanda. This is the section of Brahmana or Karma Kanda. They teach us how to live life of dharma, which is then translated as Karma Yoga in Bhagavad Gita. So this karma which is taught in the Brahmana section of Veda or Karma Kanda section alone is refined by Lord Krishna into what we call Karma Yoga. So what is Karma Yoga is performing karma or action or duty with the spirit of yoga. What is yoga? As it is explained, yoga is the spirit of being a contributor. Yoga is the spirit of being a devotee, making an offering to the Lord. So process of bringing Ishvara into our life. The ultimate goal is to be Ishvara, to be Brahman, to be complete. That is Brahman. But that process of becoming complete or discovering completeness as my nature goes in three steps. It is bringing that Ishvara into my life. Our Swami would say, bringing Ishvara into our life. How do you bring Ishvara, or God, or Ishvara, or Brahman? If that is the goal ultimately, if knowing Brahman, which is becoming Brahman, is a goal in our life, then Brahman should first come in our life and slowly then occupy our life, pervade our life, and then become ourselves. So bringing Ishvara into our life is allowing Ishvara to slowly enter into me and pervade into me and then ultimately become me. You follow? This is how it is. So first step is called Karma Yoga. Bring Ishvara by way of doing what is right. Performing action as an offering to Ishvara, in worship of Ishvara. So worship of Brahman, or worship of Ishvara is the first step, which is the means of knowing Ishvara. First step is worshipping, second step is knowing. Again, that worship takes place in two stages. One is by way of karma, action that I perform at the level of body and my limbs and organs of action. That is called karma yoga. So when I perform these actions or duties, which is an external, it's called bahiranga sadhanam. These are means, external means. I perform those actions as an offering to Lord. In the spirit of yajna, the spirit of self-offering. Because the whole universe offers itself. Every element of the universe is so designed that it offers itself. And so we also should join that same harmony, tune, the rhythm of the universe. So what is Karma Yoga? Performing day-to-day activities as an offering to each. This is my offering to you. So that's how slowly I become the devotee of Ishvara. Then second level. So from that Brahmana section, we go to the third section of Veda called Aranyaka. Aranya means a forest. Aranyaka means the practices that are prescribed for forest. So there were Vedas talked about 4 stages of life. Brahmacharya, Garhastya, Vanaprastya, Sannyasa. Brahmacharya, the life of a student. Garhastya, the life of a householder. Vanaprastya, life of a forest dweller. And sannyasa, a renunciate. There are 4 stages of spiritual growth of an individual. From student, you grow into a householder. From there, you grow into a forester. From there, you grow into a renunciate. So renunciation is looked upon as the final stage, and we're being prepared for that. So renunciation becomes a means of self-knowledge. If self-knowledge or knowledge of Brahman is the ultimate goal, then sannyasa, renunciation, a means of that. But that requires a lot of maturity. So the process of slowly becoming emotionally mature or spiritually mature. These days they talk of emotional quotient or spiritual quotient. So even management people also require that not only do we require the hard skills in terms of the knowledge, you're a high-tech person, you're a doctor, hard skill. Require also the soft skill, which is called emotional maturity, and further called spiritual maturity. To be a more effective manager, a leader, you must cultivate those soft skills. So anyway, here management of life we are talking about. So then next stage in bringing Ishvara into our life is called Upasana. So in the Aranyaka section of the Vedas, they teach various meditation. Upasana means meditation. What is meditation? Mental worship of Ishvara. In the earlier stage, it was worship of Ishvara through action. Second stage is worshipping Ishvara at the level of mind, more subtle. See, what we see in the temple where the priest performs all those rituals is worship, carried out at the level of limbs. Second, and little more sophisticated is meditating upon Lord, that is the mental worship of Lord. So for us, meditation means mental worship. It's called upasanam or upasana. Again, upa and asanam. Upa means sitting. Upa, asanam means sitting. Upa means in proximity. Sitting in proximity with the Lord, meaning meditating upon the Lord. So, first stage is karma yoga, second stage is upasana or mental worship. Because there are these obstacles in our mind, obstacles to knowledge. First obstacle is this impurity of the mind, called raga dveshas, attachments and aversions. All this kama, krodha, the anger, greed, etc. So these are the impurities of the mind which are an obstacle to happiness and to knowledge also. Second is, so that is the karma yoga is a means of, so karma yoga means perform an action as an offering. Perform action without selfish motive. Perform action as a contributor. It slowly and slowly removes the selfishness, self-centeredness. And selfishness creates the attachments and aversions. So slowly and slowly, mind gains purity. And the second obstacle is what we call the distraction of the mind. For that, this meditation is for the single pointedness or concentration of mind. So, mala and vikshepa. Mala means impurity. Karma yoga is means of removing impurity or ragadveshas. And upasana or meditation is means of developing the single pointedness of the mind, concentration of mind, bring Ishvara at a much closer level, close enough to know. Don't think that knowledge can take place just like that. Here, Ishvara has to be part of our life, he has to enter our life and more proximately. And then he can become the object of knowledge. So, so this section is called Samhita. You need not worry about the name Aranyaka. I'm deliberately using these words just like that so that at least you heard them. Brahmachari, Samhita, Grihastha, Brahmana, Vanaprastha, Aranyaka, Sannyasi, Upanishad. 4 stages of life and 4 sections of the Vedas. So these are the Vedas see the growth, the emotional and spiritual growth of a human being. So that is how the whole system of duty is conceived. Therefore, Upanishads we find very often also talk of meditation. Particularly this Upanishad that we have taken up, the Chandogya Upanishad. It has 8 chapters, of which the first 5 chapters are essentially devoted to prescribing meditations. Meditation upon whom? Meditation upon Ishvara. Ishvara in what form? Ishvara in the form of various orders. Swamiji's talk of order. The universe, as we will see, is manifestation of Brahman, manifestation of Ishvara. God alone has manifested as a universe of names and forms. In this universe, we find variety of number of orders. Therefore, you can say that Ishvara is manifest as various orders. Order of dharma, psychological order, this order, that order, all kinds of. So in meditation here, our attention is drawn to a number of orders that exist in the universe. If Ishvara is manifest as a universe, How do you meditate on Ishvara as the manifest universe? How? As the various orders existing in the universe. For example, the Upanishads shows how a cosmic sacrifice is going on. A cosmic yajna or a sacrifice is going on. That as though fire kind, what's a sacrifice or a yajna? That you kindle fire in an altar, invoke the Devata and make an offering to the Devata or God. So our attention is drawn as to how universal cosmic is going on in 5 stages. First yajna is going in the heaven, then is going the intermediate world, going on the earth. The devatas are performing the homa, the sacrifice, and the sun is the fuel. The moon is the product of that sacrifice. And moon then performs sacrifice, and the rain is the product. Rain sacrifices itself to us, and the food is the product. That sacrifices, and the man's semen is the product. That is sacrifice, and the progeny is the product. So different ways of looking at the universe. So many orders are existing. One is called Samvarga Vidya. How everything is swallowed up. So because destruction also is part of the universe, and that also is shown how everything is swallowed up one by one. So all this we studied last year. But the point is that before knowing Ishvara, worshipping Ishvara through my karma, meditating upon Ishvara, and third step is the knowledge of Ishvara. So even though this meditation is not the part of Upanishad, Upanishad deals with what we call Atma Vichara, Brahma Vichara. Vichara means the deliberation upon what is Brahman, deliberation what is Atma. That's the subject matter of the Upanishad. But to deliberate upon Brahman or the self, which is subtler than the subtlest, the mind also should have become that single pointed, should also become subtle. Is it not so? The Kathopanishad says, Esha sarveshu bhuteshu godhotmana prakashate. In fact, the self is hidden in the heart of every creature. That Brahman or Ishvara is right, my own self. No prakash. Unfortunately, it does not reveal itself as Brahman. Right now, myself reveals itself to me as what? As a Jivatma, as a limited self. The true nature of myself is what? Limitless. But unfortunately, at the moment, the self does not reveal itself as a limitless. It reveals to me as a limited entity, and that is why I feel always a sense of limitation, and that's why I'm unhappy. So then, what should we do for the self to reveal its true nature? Drishyaretu agraya buddhya sukshmya. Our mind should become subtle as well as single pointed. With that mind, we can appreciate the true nature of ourselves. So even to carry out the deliberation upon nature of self, what is the nature of self? For that also you require that kind of a mind, and therefore the karma yoga and upasana are made to cultivate that kind of mind. So that is why I guess ChhandogyaUpanishad saw the need to prescribe so many kinds of meditations to help us. Although those meditations, I don't think anybody performs now, because all those meditations are now replaced by the meditations prescribed by the Puranas. So the Puranic meditations. What do Puranas do? Same Ishvara, of which orders are described here. In that, this upasana got transformed to bhakti or the devotion. Some madhurya is added, some sweetness is added, some love is added into that. So not only you meditate, but meditate with love. That is called upasana. So bhakti is what? Worshipping Ishvara with love. And in order for us, this is strictly the Hindu system where we are given various forms of the Lord, names and forms are given. And those forms are beautiful. So they are very attractive, very beautiful, and possessed of great glories and qualities. So it makes it easier for us to dwell upon the beauty of the Lord, upon the greatness of the Lord, upon the glories of the Lord, upon his various exploits. So the Puranas describe now Ishvara in that's what called Saguna Brahma, Brahma with all these attributes. That is the object of meditation, worship and meditation. Meaning that the upasanas or meditations have undergone a change from the Vedic times to the Puranic times. So perhaps hardly anybody would perform the upasanas that were discussed in the first 5 chapters. But they're beautiful. That's the reason why last time we chose to discuss them, because they have their own beauty, they reveal the various harmonies and orders obtained in the universe. And so everybody is welcome to do that. So this is the 5 chapters. Now we are in the 6th chapter, which is devoted to the deliberate, what is nature of Brahman. So now this is this 6th, 7th, and 8th. The last 3 chapters, the subject matter is Brahma or Ishvara or Lord or the Self. Why do I use so many words? Because it reveals Brahman is my own self. The limitless is revealed as my own self, which is what we'll see. The 6th chapter of Chandogya is perhaps one of the most famous chapters because it has one of the most famous Mahavakya major statements, Tattvamasi, that thou art. And that is why this is a very famous section, a famous chapter. Upanishads are generally presented to us in the form of a dialogue between the teacher and the disciple. Dialogue between a teacher and a disciple. Very often, we find that a disciple or an aspirant asks a question, and the Upanishad is the answer that the teacher gives to that question or a series of questions. Sometimes there is one question, the whole Upanishad is answer to that. Or sometimes there may be more than one questions. But this is the style of teaching. So it is teaching and not preaching. What is meant by teaching is that the student should only accept something after he or she has understood what the teacher says. Here, the teacher does not expect that we should simply swallow what the teacher says. He expected that we should understand in our own mind and then accept it. In case we do not understand, we have freedom not to accept it, by the way, not to reject it, but not accept it. I wait for future when I will understand it. We don't reject what the teacher says or what the scriptures say, but we don't necessarily accept unless we are convinced about it. So we should be convinced about the veracity or truthfulness of what the teacher says. This much freedom is given. I am telling you from this high pulpit that why you have to accept it. That is not the Upanishad. Because then knowledge doesn't take place. You accept something in faith. You may have trust in that person. You accept something in faith, but that does not become knowledge, your knowledge. It's just a belief, which also may have its own value. We are not dismissing anything here, but we are just showing the difference that the Upanishad with reference to other systems. That here the aspirant has the freedom to ask a question and freedom to raise a doubt also, seek clarification, and accept something only after he or she is convinced about it. Meaning that it should become our conviction. It should not remain the conviction of the teacher or not the conviction of scripture. It should become our conviction. Then only it can become knowledge. So that is why our Swamiji was very fond of talking about the value of values. This is values. Non-violence is value. Truthfulness is a value. Honesty is a value. Compassion is a value. We all know. We don't need many discourses about what these things mean usually. But what is important is the value of value. So Swami used to define a value. A value is a value which is valuable to the one who practices the value. The value should become valuable to me, then only it is a value. If it's valuable to teacher, has not become valuable to me, then I will not practice it. I will practice it as long as it is convenient. In moment practicing a value such as truthfulness or honesty becomes inconvenient, I am likely to drop it. But if I am convinced that honesty is the right thing for me, then non-violence is beneficial to me, more beneficial than anything else, then only I will have the inner strength to practice truthfulness or honesty, even though it may require some sacrifice. So growing is always painful. No pain, no gain. And generally we want to avoid pain. That's the usual in avoiding pain. But sometimes it may be necessary also to go through the pain in order to gain. Similarly also, just as I will practice a value only if it is valuable to me, so also I will benefit when it becomes my knowledge, becomes my conviction. Not only that you are Brahman, that's what the teacher's conviction is. Should become my conviction that I am Brahman. Then it will bless me. Otherwise, it will remain only as a belief or as a general information. It should become my knowledge. So that is why this is a teaching where the teacher addresses a given disciple or a given aspirant. The reason why every Upanishad seems to be different from other Upanishads is because every Upanishad is a dialogue between a given teacher and a given aspirant. Although the basic subject matter is the same, all Upanishads only reveal one thing, that you are limitless, or what is limitless, in their own way. But that truth is conveyed differently by different Upanishads because there is a unique combination of a teacher and a disciple. That is why studying all Upanishads is very helpful because each one gives us a different insight. And so here also the Upanishad that we are studying is also in the form of a dialogue between the teacher and the student. Here, the teacher happens to be the father and student happens to be son. It's also dialogue between the father and son. That was considered very important because son or one's own progeny is very, very dear to oneself. whether it's son or daughter, my own progeny is most dear to me because it's my own self. Very often, the son, the progeny is looked upon as my own. I'm myself born in this form. Therefore, I almost have as much love for my progeny as I have for myself. And therefore, what I pass on to the most dear one to me is that the very best, is it not so? If my son or my daughter to whom I am teaching is the dearest to me, then the well being of that is most dear to me in my heart. And therefore, what I will impart to that person will be something which is most valuable. So, therefore, we find often that Upanishad also is a dialogue between the where the father is a teacher and son is a disciple. That's the case here. Also, this dialogue is usually conveyed to us in the form of an anecdote. In Sanskrit, akhyayika, it's called anecdote. Meaning that some kind of an episode happened, some event happened. In that format, this is described. For us, for easy grasping. When something is told in a story form, then we grasp. But this is a very subtle matter, rather difficult subject also. And therefore, when communicated in this anecdotal form, becomes easy to grasp. Also to convince us that something like this happened is not simply a theory. What Upanishad teaches is something that actually happened, that there was a teacher of this name. There was a teacher who was called Yama, and there was a disciple called Nachiketa. There was a teacher called Varuni or Varuna, and there was a disciple, his son called Bhrigu. So these things happened. Similarly, there was a person whose name was, and he had a son whose name was Shvetaketu, and that's the story that we are told here. So, in this background now, I think we can take up the passage. So, I will read and you please repeat after me. Om Shvetaketuhu Ha Aruneyah Asa Tamha Pita Uvacha Shvetaketo Vasa Brahmacharyam Navai Somya Asmatkulinah Ananuchya Brahmabandhu Iva Bhavate Iti. Shvetaketu, which is very interesting that Upanishad begins with the name of the disciple, not with the name of the teacher. So the Shvetaketu Vidya, the ha is Aitihya. Once upon a time, there was one named Shvetaketu, who was the Aruneya. Aruna, Aruni, Aruneya. So Aruna was a very famous sage. The son of Aruna was called Aruni, and his son is called Aruneya. So grandson of Aruna is Aruneya. His father is Aruni, and he is Aruneya. So there was once upon a time Shvetaketu, the grandson of Aruna. Alright, so this is then what happened? Tamha Pita Uvacha. To Shvetaketu, once upon a time, one day, father addressed Shvetaketu. Shvetaketu, that's the address. Shvetaketu Sambodhanam. Hey Shvetaketu. Vasa brahmacharyam. Vasa means live. Brahmacharyam as a brahmachari, as a student. He Shvetaketu, may you now take up the life of a student. Student is called brahmachari, where the commonly understood meaning of brahmachari is just celibate. But brahmachari, brahmani, charati, the brahmachari. The word Brahma has several meanings. One of the meanings is Veda. So Brahmachari, one who is dedicated to the study of Veda, is called Brahmachari. So those days, the as it is described here, the father says to their son, Hey, Vasa Brahmacharyam. Hey Shvetaketu, may you become a Brahmachari. Live in the teacher's house. So live house as a student is called Brahmacharya. So as you know very well, the format in the ancient India was that there was what we call Gurukulam, meaning the house of the teacher. And the students would go to the teacher, live with the teacher for a number of years, perhaps maybe 12 years. A student would go, live with the teacher as long as required, even up to 12 years, where the teacher becomes his father and teacher's wife becomes his mother. And there are a number of students like that. That's the Gurukulam. See, that was the system because I think the parents realize that this child staying at home will be always spoiled, pampered. And there are a lot of distractions also because a lot of things are available at home. You can eat what you want to eat, you can do what you want to do, etc., etc. And so, this being the case, it is necessary that one should live a disciplined life, free from all distractions. Those days there was no social media anyway. What kind of media was there at that time? Some distractions I'm sure must be there at any time. When you go and live with the teacher, no distraction. The only agenda is study. And that becomes possible. Everybody is doing that, that is why. At home, you alone are there, and your parents are there to pamper you, and thereby you can get away, etc. So, this is all right at home, but not there. You can't do that. Not only that, but all these students who are there enjoy the same status, whether he is a prince or a beggar, whoever is there, they all have the same status, treated in the same way. They all do the same thing. That is the reason why you are also inspired to study. When everybody is doing that, then it's easier for you also to get into that groove. Because father is doing something and mother is doing something, and you also want to do that rather than what you should be doing at home, perhaps. But there in Gurukulam, everybody is doing the same. Therefore, it's easy to get into the groove. There's an environment of study there. So that is why the student is sent there. I guess nobody wants to go there anyway. Even we also, when children, didn't want to go to school. So I remember that somebody from the school would come and carry me on his shoulder and take there. That is because my father wanted them. Could do that. But that is how you had to go. Nobody wants to go from home anyway. Most people. Later on, a time comes when you want to go. Then fathers don't go. No, I want to go. But it takes some time. So he looks like Shvetaketu was staying home and not doing anything. And father realized that now, see, there is an age when late age also when you should start the studying. Should not be too early, shouldn't be too late. Our Swami says these days that people send children to school kg when the child is 1 kg, not even 1 kg that you say. That also is not right. Somehow he didn't like it. This daycare, Sunday, schools and stuff like that. Anyway, that was Swami's opinion. Is that the child should not separate from the parents and feels abandoned, this, that, and whatnot. And so that is Swami strictly believed that. And so, if in the worst case, if you have to send your child to that school, let the mother also go there. So the child doesn't feel separate from mother. Now that's anyway, how much Swamiji knew about education, I do not know really, but this was his opinion. I don't think anybody accepts that opinion anyway, but whatever. But the thing is that you have to go to school and be in the midst of the people who are also doing the same thing. At what age you should do? Yes, that is true. In the olden days, age used to be 8 years old, up to 12 years. So that this is that's the one is the child is to be initiated into the study. That initiation ceremony should take place, and who should initiate you? Your teacher should initiate you. So Upanayanam means what? The initiation ceremony, where now the child from a free life of playing and running around now enters a stage of life which is the life of a student, which is a disciplined life. And for him to remind what the disciplines are, he is given a thread, what they call the Upanayanam or the sacred thread. And he has a tuft, shaven head and tuft. So no beauty for nothing, a shaven head. Everybody shaven headed with a tuft. That's like an antenna which connects you. You know what they used to do with that antenna sometimes? You tie that, with a string to the ceiling. And so when you study, they fall asleep at night also because hours and hours you study and you get up. So anyway, I guess several uses are there of that tuft. But this is how, in fact, they recite the Vedas for hours and hours. One of our own priests was telling me that he is teaching Vedas to his own child. He says for 13 hours a day, that fellow recites Vedas. It is not for nothing. They memorize entire Veda. Memorize entire Veda. After you memorize, then they teach you the meaning. First memorize. And the memorization takes place just by listening. But that's the mind of a child, which is a clear mind. Clean slate is there. Uncluttered mind, and therefore what you listen right away you grasp. When we grow old, it becomes very difficult. I remember in Salisbury, in our temple there, every evening there is a puja, and then during these camps also, pujas are there, and the arti is there, and recital is there. So everybody comes there. Children also come and stand there. So it's a half an hour chanting. Part of it you are listening here sometimes. These poor parents, for years and years, they keep on looking at the book. The 6-year-old child or 7-year-old child memorizes everything without understanding anything. But that's how the child's mind is. It need not understand to remember. We have to understand things, only then we can remember it. And not only understand, but connection must be there from one to the other. But child's mind is what it is. And therefore, for example, the Sanskrit grammar, first of all, they will make them recite all the 4,000 sutras, aphorisms, along with the brief explanation. They memorize first, then the teacher explains. Similarly, the Vedas are first memorized, and then the teacher will explain the meaning. So your study is complete, not only you know the entire text, but also the meaning of the text. And further, what it means in your day-to-day living. So dharma is the right way of living also you must understand. That is when the study is complete. And then the student comes home, he's now ready to enter the next stage of life called the life of a householder, where he lives an active life. So he must perform actions and he should know what to do, what not to do, etc. Anyway, looks like the Shvetaketu had already become 12 years old. That is pretty old by even Vedic standards. And so the father saw that this fellow seems to have no inclination of studying at all. And then once upon a time, one day, father addresses the son. Shvetaketo vasa brahmacharyam. Hey Shvetaketu, you now vasa means may you dwell in the home of the teacher and study the Vedas. So there is study is the only agenda, no distraction at all, which also very conducive atmosphere. So Shvetaketu, why should I study? He being what, young man being what he is. So father said, Navai Somya, oh my dear, Asmat Kulina, in our line, in our lineage, Ananucha, without study, Brahma Bandhuiva Bhavati, nobody poses to a relative of Brahmin. That's a very interesting word, Brahma Bandhu. Brahma means a Brahmin, means the one who has studied the Vedas. It's called a Brahmin. Brahma Bandhu, the so-called Brahmin. You hear some people saying, Swamiji, my grandfather was a great Sanskrit scholar. I did this, that. What are you? No, my grandfather was that. My uncle was such a great scholar and he would talk in Sanskrit and get it. How about you? So there are people who always identify themselves as related to the knowers of Vedas. So related to scholars. Himself is not a scholar. Himself is not studied Vedas. This is called Brahma Bandhu. Hey Shvetaketu, if you do not study the Vedas, then you will fall in the category of the one who will say, my father was a great scholar, my grandfather was like this, my brother is like that, my cousin is like that, my uncle is like that. So therefore, a relative of Brahmin means the one who has studied the Vedas. And that's not right. You must become a Brahmin. Meaning that Brahmaja, one who knows the Vedas, is called a Brahmana. Even if you are born as a Brahmana, it's not enough that you just born a Brahmana, you must become a Brahmana by studying the Vedas. Ideally by knowing Brahman. But the first step is to study the Vedas. So this is how the father sort of invokes the child, invokes the son, motivates the son by reminding him of what he is and what he is missing and what is required in his life. That it is important that one should study. If you do not study, you just remain a relative of a Brahmana. You lose all the advantage of being a Brahmana. If you are born in a family of Brahmana, I'm just using the word Brahmana here because Brahma also means a Brahmana. And if you do not live like a Brahmana, you do not take advantage of the family in which you are born. If each one of us is born in a certain family which has certain traditions, which has certain inheritance. So we get all. And if we do not live up to that, then we lose the advantage of that. So you are born in a family of all great learned people. And if you also do not become learned, then it would be a sheer waste of an opportunity and waste of your life also. Never, father is prompting the son to go to Gurukulam, go to a teacher and study the Vedas and become a not Brahma Bandhu, become a Brahma, become a Brahmana, means one who studied the Vedas. So a question is asked here, how come the father is sending his son to somebody else? Because father can very well be a teacher. First teacher is father. In fact, very often, even today, father is a teacher. If a father is a knower of the Vedas, then he teaches the son. So he will initiate into the study of the Vedas. The whole initiation ceremony is to initiate the student in the study of Vedas. For that, you must go through that ritual called samskara. You must get a rite of passage, you must go through. Then you become qualified to study the Vedas. They initiate you with the Gayatri mantra, and that represents the entire Vedas. And that's how you become qualified student. Not anybody can study. You must be qualified. For that, the ceremony is there. Question: how come father, he himself is a great learned person, as we will see. How come he did not teach his son? I guess it is difficult for sons to learn from father. Because pampering and all stuff is there and there. And very often we don't have great respect for a father anyway, also. Old man, And so when you go to somebody else and you are respectful of that person. Because what happens is, as you grow in a home, you've been constantly with parents and you're watching them, observing them. And sometimes you find that they are not quite what you expect them to be. Swami, my mom is lying, my mom is like this. So they see these things. It's quite likely that in course of time they lose respect of the child, or may not lose respect, but at the same time you're playful endeavor. They don't take you seriously. Sometimes children do not take the parents serious. Mother very often don't listen to them, doesn't know anything, you know. And not father usually, but sometimes father also. So it's likely that father may have felt that Shvetaketu may not have enough respect to have that Shraddha and Bhakti for studying in the way he sent away elsewhere. So that may be the reason why the father is sending the son to another guru. And we'll continue the story tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om. So as you will see in your schedule, the next session is at 8:30. 7:30 is the dinner. Of course, there is puja now. 7:30 is dinner. 8:30 we meet again, and that will be question answer session. So please write down your questions on. We'll get some index card maybe tomorrow, but on a piece of paper in legible manner, and leave all your questions. Should they leave them here? There must be a little box. So leave your questions, huh? There'll be leave your questions. And if you have time, then there will be some bhajan or kirtan. And in that, if some of you like to sing some bhajans or do some kirtan, then you're welcome. So if that is so, please prepare. And if you have time, today, tomorrow it will come. And so you can participate in that also. So our next meeting here will be at 8:30.